What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of my HLTV Fantasy. Today we are looking at Elisa Masters Espoo 2023. As you can see, I've kind of done this Excel model thing again. I had to import a lot of new data from HLTV, just writing out all of these ratings from the past 3 months, player names, all of this stuff. I also did one new thing that I didn't do before. So I've made a matchup odds table. Before, if you remember, I had game 1 odds from bookies, and then game 2 odds were always 60% for the winner and 40% for, 60% for the favorite, 40% for the underdog. Now I've kind of done this kind of matchup sheet where we go from 52 to 56 to 60, always within 4% intervals. I think this is an okay estimation of how the odds might go. And then I've also included the bookie odds for game 1 because they are available, so why wouldn't I? And also I've made some manual adjustments to the odds for Havu because I feel like, honestly, Havu are not as good as some of these other teams, so I think they are smaller, like they are bigger underdogs. I also run this model again, and this is the lineup that it went with. So it went with Floppy, Shuhei, Maden, Sanpayus, and Afro. So honestly, some of the players I was looking at, again, it's quite interesting how good this model is at predicting, or well, picking players that I already thought I would pick. Of course, it might show some of my biases in the data because there's a lot of subjective values, and how do I estimate the amount of points that people get. But I think it still is quite interesting at the very least. For example, going double ends makes a ton of sense here. So if you look at these win probabilities, ends are 81% favorites in the first match against Havu. And then in the same match, in the second round, they are around 58% favorites because they're gonna get to play against, I believe it's, who do they play? They play either Gamer Legion or Fnatic. So I think even with them changing IGL, they should be favored against either of those teams. This is also, like, here you can also see my power ranking for the event. I will probably always do this first, so I kind of rank the teams based on who I think are favorites. I think Complexity have been insane in CS2 so far. I think I've been very impressed. I think they're number 1. I would say Mouse are number 2. Ends number 3. Gamer Legion number 4. Gamer Legion, Furia, maybe Apex could be here in a different order, but I felt like Gamer Legion to me is probably the strongest of these. Fnatic just changed 3 players, and then Havu is just several tiers below a lot of these teams, I would say. But yeah, apart from that, I guess we could check the event here. So this is, by the way, how the event works. I maybe should have shown this first. So it's 2 groups in the playoffs. So going 2-0 against gives padding, which was included in the model. I would say favorites. Like, the thing is that Group B is probably tougher than Group A in general, but ENS is also going through some changes. They have Glaive. I think it's very good for them to have a matchup against like a Havu first. And then Gamer Legion and Fnatic. Fnatic, very unstable roster right now, made big changes. Gamer Legion are a decent team, I would say. I think Gamer Legion could very well top the group as well, which is why I put them in 4th. And then Group B, I would say Mouse and Complexity are the favorites, and then Furia and Apex are less likely to make it through. And this is probably gonna be reflected in like the players I pick here, because I do think double ends is the lineup. So if we want to look at the lineup that the... Oh wait, this was a different version of me running the model. We had Afro, right? Didn't have... Who did we have? We had Floppy and we had Shuhei, right? This was the lineup that it went for, which is decent. Like, we have a double up on the team that I expect to go 2-0. And then some of the better teams from the other group, I don't expect to go top. Actually, Fnatic are in the same group as Ends. But I was also looking at Afro at like 180 grand. He is, apart from like Sense and 4 of the Havu players, he is one of the cheapest players in the tournament in a group where I do think that Fnatic have at least a decent shot of beating like a Gamer Legion. And if they lose against Gamer Legion, they get to play against Havu, and then probably against Gamer Legion, or probably against Gamer Legion again. I think there's a very decent chance that Afro does well here. And at 180,000, like, it's very hard to go against him, like, or to not go for him. If you look at the most picked players, I don't think Afro is even there. People are going towards, well, the three teams that I think are the favorites here: Mouse, Ends, Complexity. I wouldn't go for Glaive. We have no idea how good he's gonna be. He's of course replacing Snuppy in this event, so he's gonna have Snuppy's price at 184. JT and Shuhei, the other two IGLs, make a lot of sense. JT's been looking very good in CS2. Shuhei, we don't know as much about. If we wanted to go for a double up, I think you could very well make the case to go non-Shuhei and JT. Like, I don't mind this as a choice at all, and then you may want to go for like a Halzerk instead of Floppy. Like, this is a fine lineup, definitely. But I think I might actually want to give going with the model team a chance. It uses all of the money. It's a lot of this lineup just does speak to me on some level. By the way, I didn't show you this yet. So how I did in the last event. So Blast. This is the team I ended up going with. Didn't do too well, not too good. But honestly, it's due to the fact that Messi was not as good as I thought for Vitality, whereas Apex was very good. And then Navi didn't do as well. Just decent, but not very well. Wonderful was great at the start of the event, but then kind of fell off towards the end a bit. The other way around for Bit. And JT was just decent for his price, at least. But nothing great either. Best team must be like, yeah, okay, double Phase, double Vitality, and then Electronic was very good this event, true. Yeah. But if we want to look at the other team, I didn't end up putting all my this is the wrong event. I didn't end up putting all of the boosters on for this Excel team, but it did get, I believe, slightly more points. Even though we have like Boomage and negative points, but we have Carrigan, Messi, and then Spinks was very good as well as a pick. So this actually outperformed the team I made. So maybe I should be trusting my model a bit more. It wasn't still like an amazing lineup, but it could have done quite well. I mean, Cloud9 were good in this event, just the players didn't end up performing as much. But I think I'm just gonna go for this lineup, honestly. The one I'm least certain about is maybe Sanpayus. Like, I don't know how good he's been CS2 yet so far. Like, has he even played in CS2? They have barely played in CS2. He hasn't been that great. Like, that's the biggest question mark in this event, or this lineup for me. We go on to edit lineup. So Nerds is at 225. That's quite expensive. Is there a way to get him in without breaking the bank? Go, for example, with JT. And then, yeah, there's no 205 option here. Yeah, it's too difficult to get him in. I think I just want to try out this this lineup that is favored by the Excel team. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Let's try it out. It's also not going 2-1, but I don't know if that's as big of an issue here because we have like 2 teams that I do expect to go through, especially. So it does kind of hedge my bets, but I do want to see how this works. Probably Afro as main op instead of Sanpayus. Sanpayu's probably like multi-fragger. Shots on floppy. How is it? Yes. No, wait, support rounds, I mean. 30, 54, that's pretty decent. Yeah, we're going support here. Shuhei. I mean, probably Mod and IGL, honestly. Modern doesn't have the greatest roles, generally speaking, so that makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, so what should Shuhei be? He's usually been quite good at heads, but I guess not right now. I wouldn't ever go noob on him. This is weird. He's not got the greatest roles here. These are some really poor roles, not gonna lie. I guess defender, I mean, he's winning a lot of games. He's usually had higher CT rating than this, but let's go for that. And then multi or 3. So this gives 20%. So it should be multi-fragger at a higher percentage. Yeah, multi should be the best role. Let's see. Then boosters versus Havu should be KAST. Honestly, I'll just throw KAST Sanpayus. Did we have IGL? Yeah, so we should go feeling 22. We are expecting ends to 2-0 Havu. I think it's, look at like there's a, you could say there's a home ground buff or whatever. Like, yeah, we are playing in Finland this event, but I don't know. Pistols. What else we got here? What would be good? Okay, Kobe on Afro. I can see that. We can do this. Floppy. Avenger. I mean, sure. Shuhei. What's Shuhei one? 8, but maybe against a better team. Cannon fodder's decent, also maybe against a better team than Apex though. Maybe not. I'll put bait Shuhei here. Let's see. I think it's a very decent lineup. Honestly, it's at least what I'm happy about with the model is that it's very good at making at least decent predictions for, or decent choices. And at the very least, I can always look at this points per money, like kind of graph how many points they're expected to get for the amount. Like I can see, okay, there's no one who's making 2 points per dollar. It's also not like completely, like you're not making 2 points per dollar completely, but it's just indicative of like who's better than someone else. So like Nerds is one of the best players. Expected to be also Sanpayus. We have like Frozen as a pretty decent option, but at 225 is probably just not better than Nerds, for example. You can see something like this. Like I shouldn't go for Frozen because I can also go for Nerds at 225. We can make these kinds of like comparisons. Impat and Torji, very similar. You can go for either one. Maybe Impat at 1k more is probably, this is worth it. Who else could we like compare to Yimpat? For example, like Floppy, maybe. I don't know. Like yeah, Yimpat is more expensive and costs more, but we can find these kinds of like, I shouldn't go for this player because this other player who's the exact same price is gonna get me more points. So 184, for example. Is there a player who's 184? I want to just find 2 players who are exactly the same price, so I can make this kind of point. 183. I mean, Cello and Glaive, I guess, are good, decent comparisons. So Glaive at just slightly negative points expected. Cello has more expected negative points. Oh, but then it's yeah. His price also reflects that, so they're about equal. I'm trying to find some expect. So this is a good example, I guess. No, it's not. Okay, whatever. You understand the point. But I'm gonna be like, I was toying around with this to make this matchup sheet. I think I will be doing this for events in the future. Just makes these win probabilities and padding probabilities and all of this makes it just more accurate. Of course, what I could do is try and simulate the whole tournament instead of just the first 2 rounds. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is still the best way of doing it. I guess I could like simulate the 3rd round, like if you win and lose 1. What are your expected points for the 3rd one? This would also make it slightly better. But yeah, depends on how much time I have. I'm kind of swamped in studies as well, so this is just kind of for fun in the background. But yeah, if you enjoy this kind of content, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next. Goodbye.